Whether you're a seasoned Cricut user or just a beginner, the hacks that I'm going to share in this video are going to be extremely useful. Stick around until the end as I'll be sharing a cool bonus hack as well. Let's dive into it. So for our first hack, it is about using separate different text boxes for individual words. Now, say you want to type the phrase "Hello World." If you put it into one singular text box, you won't be able to edit the entire thing individually if you wanted to adjust each singular word. Now, if you wanted to do this, it would be much better to put each word in its own text box. I'll show you exactly why that is. Now, see, if you want to do this, and say you have a cursive font like the one I'm using right now, you would want to put the letters closer together. So to do that, you'd want to adjust your letter space. However, the letter spacing you'd need for each word is likely different. See, this one we had it at -0.2, and if we were adjusting the world one, it would be at, we have it at -0.4 to have it correctly adjusted. So if we wanted it to do -0.2 or -0.4 individually for the entire phrase, it would look slightly off and they wouldn't exactly combine. Now, after you do this, there are multiple ways you can adjust this as well. For example, you can select each one and you can move them either closer to each other or farther apart, or move them up up on top of each other or below each other. You can do so much more customization if you have your words in separate text boxes. Now, for our next tip, it is about using your arrow keys on your keyboard to adjust the spacing between these words or letters. So, to do this, you want to tap on a phrase that you have, and you want to first ungroup that phrase. Now, when you tap each letter, you can tap your arrow keys using the right one to move right or the left one to move left, and you can actually get them placed right about where you want them to be before you adjust them further. You can do the same thing with the other word. Go ahead and ungroup it and adjust each one so that they're exactly right where you want them to be. Now from here, you can actually use your mouse to further adjust them even more. Using the arrow keys moves it so that you really don't have much work to do at this step. Now, once you adjust it to how you'd like, you can put them together and align them. Let me first just make sure this is aligned. This is perfect. Now, once you do this, if you want to print this like this, if you go into Make It, you'll actually see that each word is placed completely randomly in the cut file area right here. So, what you want to do is actually take each word, regroup them, and then weld them. Once you weld them, they'll show up as one singular layer. You can do the same thing with both of your words. Go ahead and weld it. Once you do this, if you go into Make It, you'll see that they're going to be printed as they are here, Hello World. Now, our next cool little hack is about using the Align tool to your advantage. Say you want to have these words exactly right next to each other, however, you don't know if they're exactly aligned. You can use the Align tool to help you with this. All you have to do is select the entire text, go up to the Align tool, and simply center them vertically. Once you center them vertically, they'll be aligned in the middle so that they're exactly right up at the exact location. Now, if you wanted to move this, say, to the top, and you want them to be exactly in the middle of each other, but you don't know if this and this are exactly aligned, you can use the Align tool again by selecting it all and using the opposite one, center horizontally. This will align them so that they're right up against each other. Now, our next hack is actually using your Shift key on your keyboard to rotate things easier. Now, say you wanted to rotate this like this. As you can see, it's completely fluid and you don't know if it's exactly at 90 degrees or 180 degrees. and you want it to be exact, you can use the shift tool. I'll tap it right now, and it will actually lock it at certain angles. Say you want it to be exactly 90 degrees. Holding the shift key will get you there. Once you do that, you have this at exactly 90 degrees. You can do this for anything, even a shape. Say we bring in a triangle. I'll just change the color so it's easier to see. And we wanted to rotate it so it was facing this way instead. You can do that using your shift key and rotating it. Now, say you want to have a design where you have the hello and the world on top of this flag. We can go ahead and adjust this flag so that the entire text can actually fit. But as you can see, the flag is actually covering your text. Now, an extremely simple way to fix this is actually by going to the top right to the layers panel and tapping on the triangle that you want to go to the back and dragging it down so that it is under all the other files. Let me just go ahead and do that. There we go. Once you drag it and replace it with a different layer, it will actually move to the bottom. So anything on the bottom in the layer panel will show up in the back in this area. Now, of course, you'd want to make this so that they're all aligned perfectly. As you can see, the hello is a little bit too high up, the world is a little too low. So you can use your align tool to your advantage once again. Simply select the entire thing, go to the top, and center them vertically. Now, as you can see, the entire image is centered perfectly in the middle of this flag. Now, our next hack is about locking your design in place while you are cutting. Now, say we have this image right here. Let's first of all go ahead and attach this so that it's combined. And there we go. Now, say we have this and its position is exactly at 3 and 3. So 3 on the X and 3 on the Y. This won't matter when you go in to make it because it will move directly up to the top left. But if you want it to print exactly where it is on your mat, as it looks like here in Cricut Design Space, you're going to have to do a little something about that. Now, if you come into here and to make it again, as you can see, there's a little bit of space in this corner that doesn't exactly align with the rest of the mat. So there's a little bit of space that is not being able to be cut. And that is exactly 0.25 inches. So what we want to do is grab ourselves a square and just make it really as small as you can. This is just so it stays here. Now what you want to do is click on that square and set the position to 0.25, 0.25. Once you do this, this will be placed exactly at the edge of where Cricut can cut an image. However, what you want to do now is select the entire thing, that little square, as well as this flag, and go ahead and attach it once more. What this does is it makes it into one singular layer. Once you do this, if you go into Make It, your design will be printed. As you can see, our flag is exactly at 3, 3, exactly how we had it in our design space. Now we have our little square at the top left, and really that's not going to take up much paper at all. Our main design is right here in the middle. So our next hack is about making copies of each single image. Now, the tedious way of doing this would be selecting everything, making a copy, and then pasting it, and then pasting it again, and then pasting it again. That would take up way too much time. A much easier way to do this is simply going into the Make It area, and in the top left, as you can see, there's a section for project copies. You can change this to as many copies as you like. Say we wanted about 7, and you apply it. It will actually make it so it cuts every single image that many times. You won't need to do the tedious job of copying and pasting constantly. All you have to do is simply come into the Make It area and change the copies to 7. Isn't that a much easier tip? So once we have that, our next tip is about making a duplicate layer. So first of all, let's come into our text, get some of our words, and if you remember, we want to have separate text boxes for each one. You can go ahead and hide this or just simply delete it. Now, so we have this, we want to align it. Oops, that was the wrong line. We want to align it horizontally and then group it. Now we have this image, and if you remember, if you go into make it, it will not print how it looks. What we have to do for that is we have to weld it. However, say we have this and we want to make sure we have a backup, because if we weld it, there's no coming back from welding. That is a one-step process. So what we actually want to do is simply select our image and make a copy. So simply copy and then paste it off to the side. Once you do that, you will have a area that right here that you can be able to weld and not worry about, and the same image over here as a backup in case the first one messes up. So say we only want to work with this one now. We don't really want this one to be here. It's bothering, it's in the way. There's a much easier way to get rid of this without deleting it. You can hide this by using this little eyeball icon on the top right. Each layer has their own eyeball icon that you can hide. Say we wanted to hide the hello part, we can hide the hello. If you wanted to hide the world, we can hide the world. And if you wanted to hide the entire thing, all we have to do is hide that. Now, as you can see, we can weld this, and we have this item welded and our other item right here, nice and hidden. Now, our next hack is a bit of a quality of life improvement. As you can see in here in the background, we have a bunch of lines in a grid behind this text. Now, there are two ways that you can either turn on or off this grid for your project. The first way is simply going up to these top three bars on the left, scroll down to settings. Once you click settings, you'll see an option here called canvas grid. From there, you can either choose a full grid, a partial grid, which will only show the main lines as you can see here, or no grid. You can choose whichever one you want to keep for your project. And every time you open Cricut, it'll open up to these settings. Now say you want to do a quick change and you just want to hide the grids to see how your project looks, you can go up to this little square right in between the two zeros and simply click it once to remove some of the lines and twice to remove all the lines. Now you can simply click on it again to bring the lines back. That is a nice little quality of life hack for you. Now for your bonus hack, say you made some progress on a design, you spent a few minutes on it, but suddenly your Cricut starts to get laggy or it's starting to slow down. Whenever you try clicking some different layer options or moving stuff around, it doesn't respond as fast as you have started. Now there's a simple fix for this. First, all you have to do is make sure you save your project. Going to the top right, just click save. Save it as whatever you like. Just make sure that your project is saved. Once it is saved, all you have to do is go to the top left, click the view icon, and do a force reload. Once you do a force reload, it will force Cricut to completely restart everything, and it'll bring you back to everything that it started with, which should have cleared the cache and let you work seamlessly on your project. I hope you enjoyed that video. Make sure to subscribe for more cool videos like these on Cricut Design Space.